I've never seen it move. That's how I know it's real. It started 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. Time slips now, blurs at the edges. The first night I noticed it, I was getting up to use the bathroom around 3 a.m. I left the bedroom light off, walked to the hallway, and saw something standing in the dark, halfway between the kitchen and the door. I didn't panic. Not at first. I told myself it was the coat rack. A trick of the shadows. I turned the light on. Nothing there. But I never owned a coat rack. I didn't go back to sleep that night. I sat in bed and watched the crack beneath the door. Nothing passed in front of it, but the light seemed dimmer than usual, more strained, like it had to push through something just on the other side. The next night, I stayed up deliberately. At 3:12 a.m., I heard the floorboards creak outside my door. Not randomly, not like the house settling. It was weight. Step by step. Slow. Careful. I turned on the light. Nothing there. I opened the door and checked. Nothing. But the hallway smelled different, like the inside of a box that had been sealed for years. Stale, warm, and faintly sweet, like rotting wood. I left the light on and stayed awake until morning. It hasn't entered my room. Not yet, but it waits. I've tested it. Stayed up 3 nights in a row. Coffee, lights, music. My eyes burning and my hands shaking, I watched the hallway from my bed. The longer I watched, the more wrong the angles began to feel. The ceiling seemed to curve slightly. The shadows pooled upward instead of down. At 3:12 a.m., something always changed. The hallway stretched. Just a little. Not enough to notice unless you'd been staring at it for hours, but it breathed, like the space itself inhaled. Then, barely visible. A shape. Too tall. Shoulders grazing the top of the frame. No detail, no features. Just a man-shaped silhouette that shouldn't be able to stand upright in that space. It never moved. But it got closer. Only when I blinked. I didn't see it happen. But every few seconds, when my eyes flickered from dryness or instinct, it would be a half step forward. Never while I was watching directly. Only when I stopped. Even for a moment. The 4th night, I fell asleep by accident. Just for a second. When I woke up, my bedroom door was open. The hallway was empty. But the bedsheet had been pulled halfway down, and my mouth tasted like copper. I bought cameras. Set them up facing the hallway. Watched the feed from my laptop. Midnight, 1 a.m., 2:43 a.m. Nothing. But at 3:12, the feed glitched, just once. Less than a second. I scrubbed through the recording frame by frame. One frame-owned single frame showed something standing just inches from the lens. No features. No face. Just smooth, pale skin stretched too tight over a long, lean frame. Its head tilted slightly, like it was studying the lens. Like it knew I'd be watching. I deleted the footage. That night, I put salt across the hallway. Sage, too. Every ritual I could find. I left the lights on, locked the door, and pushed a dresser in front of it. At 3:12, the lights flickered once, and the salt line scattered, like something stepped over it. The hallway carpet was warm when I checked. Just the hallway. Now, every night, I can feel it waiting. I don't see it directly anymore. I think it learned. It knows how long I can go without blinking, without sleeping, and it waits. Not because it can't enter, because it wants permission. A moment of unconsciousness. A single lapse. Sometimes I feel the mattress shift behind me, like something tall, impossibly tall, is bending to observe. I can't stop sleeping forever. And every night, it gets a little closer. 3:12 a.m. is coming again, and I can already feel the floorboards under the hallway creaking. I tried to stay awake again last night. I took every pill I had left, drank black coffee until my stomach turned sour, left every light in the apartment on, all doors wide open. I wrapped myself in a blanket and sat upright on the living room floor with my back against the wall so nothing could get behind me. The hallway stretched ahead, dimly lit, quiet. Still. Too still. Time passed like it was crawling on its hands and knees. At 3:10 a.m., the temperature changed. It didn't drop. It thickened. The air in the hallway swelled, pressing outward like it was too dense for this world. I could feel it expanding, folding the geometry of the space just slightly, like the hallway had become a tunnel that wasn't pointed at the front door anymore, but at somewhere else. And at 3:12 a.m., I blinked. Not out of tiredness, just a twitch, a human reflex. When I opened my eyes, it was there again. No sound, no movement, just presence. It stood perfectly centered in the hallway, facing me. Its form was clearer, now still, featureless, still too tall, but closer to human. Almost. Its arms hung down too long. Its fingers looked segmented, jointed in too many places. Its skin wasn't skin. It was too smooth, matte and gray, like wet ash. It tilted its head. I didn't blink again. I bit my lip until blood filled my mouth just to keep focus. My hands were shaking. My heart felt like it was trying to climb out of my throat. But I kept looking. I wouldn't give it another inch. And then it smiled. Not with a mouth. The shape didn't change. The smile happened inside me, like an echo placed directly into my chest. A sensation of being acknowledged, liked, claimed. It stayed there for almost 10 minutes, not blinking, not breathing, just watching. And then it stepped back. One step, then vanished. Not instantly. It receded. It was like watching a photo fade in reverse, pulling back into a space that no longer exists when you look directly at it. The hallway seemed to exhale. The lights stopped flickering. The temperature returned to normal. I passed out. I woke up in bed. That part I can't explain. I was on the floor in the living room. The doors were closed. The lights were off. My phone read 7:19 a.m. There was a note tucked under my pillow, folded into a perfect square. My name written on the front. Inside, a single line. Thank you for watching back. I called a friend. They didn't answer. I tried again, and it rang twice, then went to voicemail, but what I heard wasn't their voice. It was a recording of me, whispering, breathing, saying my own name over and over in a voice too slow, like my words had been stretched across a tape recorder played at half speed. I destroyed the phone. That night, I found a new hallway. Not outside my door. Inside my apartment. Between the kitchen and the bathroom, where there used to be a wall. Just a narrow slit, maybe 3 feet long. Too short to lead anywhere. But when I looked at it straight on, it seemed to go on forever. A dark corridor with no end. I don't know how long it's been there. I pressed my ear to it. I heard breathing. My breathing, but mirrored. Inhale when I exhale. Shallow when I'm deep. Fast when I hold it. I backed away. The hallway remained. I think the thing in the hallway isn't waiting anymore. It doesn't need to stand there at 3:12 a.m., hoping I'll blink. It followed the habit home. And now, it lives in the spaces I ignore. Behind the door, I never open. Inside the closet, I never use. Between the seconds, I forget to count. It waits not for permission, but for familiarity, and I've given it everything. My schedule, my reactions, my fear. Soon, I'll fall asleep again. And this time, I don't think it will wait. I think it'll lie down beside me, curl its long hands around my spine, and whisper my dreams before I have them. And when I open my eyes, it'll be the one watching me blink.